You took apart my fish tank. We both sink to the bottom. So to keep it simple, yesterday, I got a Siamese fighting fish, or known as a betta fish, named Eclipse, due to obvious reasons. I unfortunately didn't have a proper aquarium for it. So I made one out of a large storage container from Home Depot plastic, a coffee mug, sponge filter air pump, and a little bit of sand. Wasn't perfect, but it would do until then. So my aunt complains earlier this morning that why you got this big ass container for this small ass fish and it don't need all that shit. For those who don't know, betta fish need at least a 5-gallon tank. So I tried explaining to her that this isn't one of those carnival goldfish and needs certain criteria to thrive. And that didn't work. Anyway, I leave off of school. I get a call from my girlfriend, God I fucking love her, that I can have her old 30-gallon aquarium filter and heater. I leave 2 hours early from school to put Eclipse in his new home, only to find that she took upon herself to dismantle my makeshift fish tank piece by piece, leaving Eclipse dead in a Tupperware bowl filled with freezing cold water in the middle of my bedroom floor. When I confronted her, she said, I told you her don't need all that shit, and that's what fish do. They swim and die, bet. So once she left to run errands, I went into the living room and grabbed her picture of her deceased grandfather, the only thing she has left related to him, and I dismantled the frame, bit by bit. And when she comes back home, where she's gonna find the picture, at the bottom of the bowl, torn in shreds, in freezing cold water, in the middle of her bedroom floor. Sure, it might be a fish, but it was my fish, my money, my joy. Literally murdered in cold blood. Well, tonight she's gonna learn just how little things can make a big difference. Swim in peace, Eclipse, who lasted as long as her namesake. Now, what you've all been waiting for, the update. So, about 2 hours after posting the OG, she got home and saw the carnage of my actions. And I never heard such a shrill scream in my life. And what's make it worse is that I can't help but smile. You see, this isn't the first time she's disregarded something of mine. This will be the last though. What makes this different is that it's a living animal involved. She ridiculed my girlfriend in public. She's took $100 million a cousin got for me for my B-day and held on to it. That was a year and a half ago. She's misplaced a scrapbook full of letters from my mother during her stay at the nursing home. She passed away in 2019, and none of those incidents got responses from me. At the time, I thought everything was happening for a reason, but this was the last time I was going to sit there and do shit about it. You see, I've something about people. The only language that everyone truly knows and understands is violence. Anyway, she started crying. Cried so much she could fill her own damn aquarium. Once she got done bawling her eyes out, she stormed into my room and questioned me about it. I simply told her, doesn't feel good, does it? To have your shit disregarded? I bet it doesn't. Besides, didn't your grandpa hate you because you refused to look after his grandson? He never wanted to see you again. That includes beyond the grave. She then proceeded to threaten to have me arrested for destruction for property. I argued that I could do the same for animal cruelty abuse. After an hour or so of this, she finally said that one day you're gonna learn to stop touching people's shit, and proceeded to leave the room. I responded, and you learned that lesson today. Was that disrespectful? Oh, for sure. You can call me a monster, an asshole, a demon, a piece of shit. All the above for all I care. None of that stopped me from having something I haven't had in a while. A good night's sleep. Now, some people were saying that the fish was good as dead anyway. And yes, I bought the fish not knowing what it needed. So I went to my friends over at our Betta Fish, and they gave me the idea of a makeshift tank. And yes, everything was perfectly safe for Eclipse. The plastic storage bin was cleaned and rinsed and filled with room temp water along with the water conditioner. It had the coffee mug to hide in. It had the sponge and air pump as the filter. It had a small heater next to it. Not too close. Didn't want to melt a hole in it. It even had some sand in it. Sure, it wasn't the best thing, but I can assure you, if she didn't touch that tank, it'll still be alive today. If that makes me a psychopath, then lock me the fuck up because I'm sick of people disregarding my belongings. Swim in peace, Eclipse. The time my boyfriend chronically lied and cheated on me, so I stole his mom. When I was 20 to 23, I was in my first somewhat long-term relationship, and my first relationship in which we lived together. It was a bit rocky. We both caused a lot of problems in the relationship, but we finally broke up when I found out my boyfriend had been cheating on me regularly. He had also been lying about working an unpaid internship that would have transitioned to a job, which allowed him to spend hours going out with other women and excused his lack of income. So I was partly supporting him financially along with his mom, who he was also lying to. Even though my relationship with him was never stable, his mom loved me and would often openly take my side when we were fighting. She had 4 sons and no daughters, and she told me she considered me the daughter she never had. So when the cheating and lying was uncovered, it wasn't hard to get her to take my side. She was the person I went crying to, and I told her that this is the sort of thing you cry about to your mom, and since I don't have a relationship with my own mom, I was glad she was there for me to talk to. She was, of course, furious with him for lying to us both, effectively scamming us out of our money, and for cheating on me. Even when he complained to her about everything I had done wrong in the relationship, she refused to believe him because in her eyes I could do no wrong. She sat him in front of a computer and made him apply for jobs in front of her, then supervised his job search process the way one might supervise a child cooking for the first time. Once he found a job, she made him pay us both back for the money we spent supporting him while he was lying to us. After he had finished paying us back and moved out of her place, she spoke to him rarely and was very clear that she no longer trusted him. She even warned his next girlfriend that he was a cheater, and from what I've since heard, she was right to, as he has apparently cheated on other girlfriends since. She and I remained close until she passed away 2 years ago. She was one of the maybe 3 people I've ever felt I could be truly vulnerable with. She was the only person I told about a particularly difficult mental health situation I was going through, and I really did start to see her as a surrogate mother. DL, my boyfriend cheated on me and lied to me and his mother to get us to financially support him. When it was uncovered, I managed to get her to unequivocally take my side, and she remained closer to me than to him for the rest of her life. My pettiest revenge story: a few years ago, my girlfriend at the time was invited to a backyard cookout sleepover hosted by one of her coworkers. Significant others were also invited, so I went with her. Everyone was having a good time. However, there was one guy, the boyfriend of a different coworker, I'll call Bob, who was being extremely obnoxious. You know the type, kept bringing up politics, race stuff, trying to argue with people about it, etc. It wasn't the time or place to be bringing up that crap. These weren't his buddies, they were his girlfriend's coworkers. None of the significant others really knew each other or the coworkers, and because everyone wanted to be polite, no one was calling him out for acting like an asshat. We decided to play Cards Against Humanity, and one of the white cards I ended up with was quincera. Based on my interactions with Bob, I had a feeling he would have a lot of trouble pronouncing a Spanish word. I purposely played that card when it was his turn to read aloud the answer cards, and as expected, he was unable to correctly say the word quincera, even after multiple attempts. Each time he tried, he'd get more frustrated and started turning red. Everyone laughed at his struggle to pronounce the word, which led to him rage quitting the game and silently sulking for the rest of the night. I didn't tell anyone about my small potato's evil plan to embarrass him, and didn't tell the girlfriend until the next day. She also got a good laugh. Sometimes the smallest of victories can taste the sweetest.